Me, JB. Hope we're all doing extremely well this Tuesday, the 2nd of December. Advent calendars have come out and all that good stuff. Elf on the shelf. I've not been on for a little while. Busy at work. Obviously, I do have a proper job as well. So sadly, that does come first. So look, if you're new to this channel, I'm JB. And please get into the chat. Please get into the conversation. The only thing I do ask, and what we do ask, is basically to be respectful to the people in the chat, be respectful to yourselves, be respectful to me. Anyone gets on, fine. Otherwise, the ban hammer does come out and you get banned. It's not something that I like to do. Banter is welcome, but of course, there is a line. Second of all, I'm not a dictator of this chat. I really do read out your opinions. That's why these shows take so long, is because I do genuinely read out your opinions. Big up JB, big up Bobby. Is it? those names throw me out all of the time, my friend. Yeah, they're always just gotta adjust this camera. So yeah, look, guys. As I say, I get into this chat because I do genuinely read out your chats. Scott, big up JB, big up yourself, Scott. Hope you're doing extremely well now. Apologies, guys. Sorry, Danny. Sorry, Danny. Danny, of course, is a legend of this chat. So I've not been on for a couple of days. This work has been kicking my butt. And yeah, I've been itching to get back on. So I'm going to catch you all up on news today. You've probably seen it, but I thought it's worthy of us just to get a conversation about it. Transfer news, and again, I've seen a load of transfer news, which I just think is a load of nonsense. But again, look, we got to go through it. The same thing goes over and over again. Duda says, hello, sir. Hello, hope you're doing extremely well. And please get in there with your chat. So today we're going to go, as what we always do, is we're going to go head-to-head between United and West Ham, as we always do. So we will go through that today. As well, we'll go through what people, how they play. You look like my teacher always. Thank you. I am going for the teacher look today. It is a bit cold. I'm going for my ultra old man look today. So we'll go through the lineups. We'll go through how West Ham play. We know how we play. So we'll go through West Ham. Go through the head-to-head win today, and then we'll talk about what we think is going to happen to get in that good stuff. There's a load of stuff to talk about. Xerxes, Edison as well. The Gallagher stuff. Fabrizio Romano has been talking as well. Mainoo, look, Rashford coming back. Apparently Rashford is on his way back. Barcelona are not going to take him, and we'll get on to that. Romano's been talking about Onana, so there's a little bit on Onana as well. Conor Gallagher, Luke Shaw, some funny stuff about Luke Shaw, which really has made me laugh, and look, some bunch of other stuff today. So let's get through the main news, and then we'll talk about the actual hello teacher. Hello. And ironically, I am an IT consultant as well, so you know. Oh look, Xerxes, let's get on to that. So look, the first thing I've written down about him is, look, Xerxes scored a goal. Now, what I've been seeing a lot of with this player. Now, look, I as I say, I don't necessarily like these players, right? I'm not going to change my mind. But what I have been seeing, which I find is absolutely ridiculous, and look, you get your opinions in on this. Xerxes scores one goal. One goal, I don't think he played particularly well. People are basically saying that Xerxes has shut people up. Xerxes has closed people down. No, Xerxes has done this amazing stuff. Xerxes had this amazing second half. I can't. Look, the amount of flip-flop in this fan base at times just absolutely just ridiculous. Now, you know, I saw a lot of people on this chat, including myself, basically saying that Xerxes was awful, and I'm not going to change my opinion on that. Where I will concede is that, you know, with Xerxes, with the run of games, will he get better and better and better? Like I have said previously on this channel that I liked Xerxes in some of the things that he does. He had a good end to the previous season. He got injured, and then he's come back. You know, it's quite clear that Amrin doesn't like this player. Now, again, he's come into the side. Don't think he had a particularly good game against Everton. And I don't think he had a particularly good game against Palace either. People are going to like what they like. People will see, and look, I will support these players, but I cannot abide. I cannot abide this flip flop nature. So look, I'm gonna stand my ground on this. And Xerxes wasn't great. I don't care what anybody says on it. I will respect the opinion, as I sort of always do. But for me, Xerxes wasn't great. So as much as I'm glad he scored. Bruno Fernandes got the assist. Does Xerxes have something? I don't know. Xerxes for me is not a United player. I would be happy to keep him for now, and the news coming out is basically that Xerxes will probably be kept because as a striking option, and I probably think that's correct. Can he play up front? Probably, but definitely as a backup player. So look, if we're not going to get any players, and we will get on to that as well, should we keep him? And my answer to that is probably yes. So Xerxes for me is going to be one of those players where I think, keep him, but at the end of the season, I think he will go. And he didn't have a great game. He didn't have a great game against Palace. I'm glad he scored. I'm glad we won, but let's not pretend here that Crystal Palace weren't tired. Second half, they were leggy. Erik Fez says hi. Hello, my friend. So, look, I'm glad he scored. Hopefully, he'll continue to get sharp. And the more goals he scores, the better it is for us. But look, he's absolutely did not play well. So, for those channels and whoever else are bigging him up because it's absolutely ridiculous. He just wasn't that good. So, next thing I wanted to come on to, so Leon. So Leon is going to go on loan. This has been confirmed by Fabrizio. So he's going to go on loan to Nice. So, for those of you pre-season, again, who was hoping for him to play, hoping for him to come into the team, hoping for him to do something, look, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen for him. It does mean to say in the future he's not going to come back into this squad. But I think for now, those of you who are hoping that he was going to come in and play, I think he needs that loan. Well, it's going to be this Premier League is an absolutely ridiculous, difficult league. So I think him going on loan is probably the best thing for him. And we're not very good at developing young players. So I am hoping that he can do some fantastic stuff there. Second of all, so Ederson of Atalanta. Apparently he's back on the radar again and available for 30 to 40 million euros. I think that would be a fantastic deal. And this is confirmed by Fabrizio. Basically saying that the agent of Ederson, he's looking to get rid of, not looking to get rid, but he's available for that price. So 35 million is probably about 26 million pounds or so. That would be an absolute ridiculous price. Considering this was a player who last season before was 70 million pounds. So I like this player. If there's an opportunity, do I think he's as good as Anderson? Do I think he's as good as Walton? I think he's not as good as an Anderson. Man United 99 says, yeah, that will be a good deal. Thank you, my friend. I think that would be a fantastic deal. I really, really like him. I do. Again, not Premier League proven. The rhetoric coming out of the club seems to be we would go for these Premier League proven players, which I do get. But for 27 million pounds, is it worth a punt? And I would probably hedge on the bet of absolutely. Now, he's a player that Erik Ten Hag wanted or was mentioned around that. Now, Ineos obviously like him as well. Now, I think if any player that we're linked to, any player that we go for, I think Amorim, as we all know, Kobbie Mainoo, and we will go on with that. We'll get into that as well, because Kobbie Mainoo, is a player that Amorim doesn't like. So I think any midfielder that comes in to this team, I think that Amorim will play him. So let's get into that. All good stuff. We'll go on to the Gallagher thing in a second, because as I've always said, I think for me, he's the player. He's Man U fan says, I hate Ten Hag. And look, the one thing I will say on here is, look, get in with your opinions, because I genuinely will read them out. And look, it really is interesting to me, all people's opinions on the subject matter, of Ten Hag, of Amorim. I respect that opinion, right? I don't necessarily hate anybody, but I get it, right? Ten Hag, look, I wanted Ten Hag to stay after the FA Cup. I thought he earned that. I think with hindsight, he wasn't the right guy for the job. I like the signing. Look, Ten Hag, I can see why we signed him. Do I think it was all of Ten Hag's fault? No. I do think he got thrown under the bus again by these players. I don't always think his tactics were completely right. You look at the Leverkusen stuff. He lasted 3-4 games, and then got sacked. I think Erik Ten Hag as a coach is perfectly fine. I just think that what he lacked was that personality, that personable feature, which means that I thought that Erik Ten Hag lacked that sort of trying to get on with the players. I just think the players didn't sort of like him, and I think he rubbed the players out the wrong way. Tactically, I think if he'd have got his players, I think he would have been fine. But look, Ten Hag is old. I get why people don't like him. With hindsight, did he set us back? I think the combination of the lack of real players, his players didn't want to play for him either. So I think Ten Hag at the end was a disaster, a very, very costly disaster, and I'm sort of glad that we've moved on for that. Next thing to talk about, Jenny Hong says, I want you to City game against Leeds. Oh my God, we got humiliated and it was disgrace. Tyson Nunes, I should never be on a football pitch ever again. Alex Ferguson would be absolutely going mad. Oh my God, you are actually going to sign Conor Gallagher. I've had that opinion the whole of the season. I've had that opinion that we will be looking to sign him. That is basically what I've always thought. That I've always thought that we were going to sign him. Doesn't mean that we are. There is news around there, and we can get on to that as well. That basically Gallagher is up for about 23 million quid. Look, 23 million pound for a Premier League proven international player. I actually don't think that that's a very, very high price. Worst case scenario, a squad player. Like I look, if it's him or nothing in this window, I'd go for him. I think he's an upgrade on anything that we've got. It doesn't mean to say that he's going to be the midfielder signing. There's nothing to say that he's going to be the best player in the world. But I think for £23 million, if it's either him or zero, I would absolutely go for him. So, and we will come back onto that. Let me go into the Fabrizio stuff first. So Fabrizio Romano basically has confirmed that Onana is not coming back. Onana's time in United has gone. The team he's gone to in Turkey, they like him so much apparently that they're going to they want to sign him. Now, I think it's a done deal. I think as long as we break even on that deal, yes, let's go. So Onana's done. Onana is not coming back to this club. I'm happy with that. I'm glad. Free from Onana. Free from Onana. Love it. Yeah, we are free from him. So I'm glad for him. Look, I don't despise or hate any player, right? Well, there are a couple of players that I don't like, but Onana is a good guy, right? I've got nothing against the person, right? As a player, abjectly awful, right? I'm glad he's got to move. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad he's got to move. I'm glad he's playing well. I'm glad that somebody in the Turkish league are going to take a punt on him. And I think probably, and this is no disrespect to the Turkish league, I think probably he's found his level. And it's not taken away from the Turkish league. I just don't think it's as competitive. So I think Onana has found his place. So look, I'm extremely pleased that that's been confirmed by Fabrizio. Now, another thing has been confirmed by Fabrizio, and I've always thought this to be true, Semenyo. For those of you who are thinking and were hoping that Semenyo, look, we're not going for him. Onana has confirmed that we're not even in this like, we're not even in the race. We're not even in the race for him. I saw a couple of things yesterday that were basically saying that we've pulled out of the race. We've pulled out of the Semenyo race, right? Because we were never in for him. I mean, it's just a load of nonsense. I never thought that we were in for this play. Look, we've got 2 number 10s. In fact, we've got 2 brand new number 10s. Xerxes that can play 10, Mason Mount that can play 10, Bruno at the moment that can play 10. We've got Ahmad that can play 10. Why would we go for this? Look, it just doesn't make sense. I've never thought that we were in for this play. Doesn't mean that I don't like the player. I appreciate the player, but look, we were never in for him. So now I've seen these outlets and stuff basically going on and saying that we've pulled out of the race. We've pulled out of the Semenyo race, but we were never in it. Who was you never walk alone for the first football match team? Who was you'll never walk alone for the first which football team? Question for you. You never walk alone is Liverpool. I don't know if they were the first club to do it, but I know that that's their song. I don't know anybody else that has it. I don't know. So look, Semenyo is not coming. I never thought he was. I never once thought that Semenyo was coming to this club. It was United. Well, the end of the day, you never walk alone. It's Liverpool's now, so that's probably before my time. I don't remember ever singing that. It's always been associated with Liverpool for me. So, but an interesting fact there. So look, Semenyo is a good player. There is no question of Semenyo being a fantastic player, right? I want to know your comments. Let me know about Semenyo. Do you think that we should sign him? Who are we going? Mason Mount's contract is until 2028. He's not going anywhere. In Bumo, right? I know he's going to go to the AFCON, but are we really going to sign a first team number 10? No, we're not. Cunha is here, so there is no space. So look, we need to put this to bed. I think as a fan base, we absolutely need to put this to bed. Man United fan says United should get more defensive players. I feel we need to work more on defence. 100%, 100,000%. I agree. Look, we at some point we will, when Mason Mount goes. Eventually, we will over time add more players. Most clubs will. I'm hoping so. Any logical club will add in some more players, right? But right now, as you say, we need a pivot. We absolutely need a midfield. I'd argue we need 2 or 3. We need a wing back, a centre back, probably another goalkeeper. We need a striker. So I agree with you. I absolutely do agree with you that we need a couple of midfield players. So what else are we saying? So Whitwell, Laurie Whitwell has basically come out with this. United want a dynamic midfielder. and getting United on the front forward. United want a Baleba, but won't go for João Gomez in the January window. Now, Baleba, United fans did sing "You Never Walk Alone" in the aftermath of the Munich air disaster, though it was not that famous anthem the way it was today. Yeah, I mean, as I say, I wasn't around then, so it's not something that we've sang for a long time. It's now owned by Liverpool, so it's definitely not one of ours. So Baleba. Baleba. Yeah, Baleba. But I like Baleba. I'm not going to lie. There are. I think at the moment there's a rhetoric surrounding him. Look, I know he's not having a good season. Maybe, and I've said this, that we need mentality players. The thing that worries me about him is the mentality. Is he the sort of mentality player that we need? Is he the sort of mentality player? Because I think it's really important to discuss this. I think it's really important that we get the sort of right attitude of player. Who do you look like, an art teacher or poet ready to read a poem? I've got my running thing on because it's cold. I wear this when I run. It's just a really nice neck warmer. It is what it is. So look, Baleba for me, I know that there is a rhetoric out there right now that apparently he's not a great player anymore. We shouldn't sign him, and I sort of would like your opinions on this. The Baleba at the moment, the Baleba topic for me isn't interesting. Now I would sign him nowhere close to 80 million. I think right now he's a 50 million pound player. I think somebody would have to take a punt on him. I think if we take a punt on him, because if he goes the whole season not playing as well as he has, I think ultimately, that United would go for him. I think they would go for him irrespective of this form this season, because he's going to be cheaper. I think that he's right up United Street. I don't think they'll learn the lesson of walking away from players. I think they'll go for him because I ultimately think that and I've said this before without repeating myself, I've said this before, that United will go for him because they can get the deal done. Now United's philosophy is let's go for the youth, and let's go for players that want to come to us. So I think Baleba, I don't think anybody's going to come in for him. I think the bidding war that Brighton were hoping to have is non-existent. I think Brighton probably dropped the ball on this player as well. I genuinely think that they thought that it was going to be this bidding war, and he was going to have another fantastic season, and he was going to be like the next big player. I actually think that Brighton have dropped the ball. I think United were very, very fortunate. I don't know if that was on purpose. Possibly fortunate not to get him at that price. I think if we'd have got him for that 100 million, I think we'd absolutely be we'd be washed right now. I think we'd be the laughing stock. Now, even though Liverpool have signed Wirtz, I think that this would be even bigger than that, and I think we probably would have absolutely been ridiculed for that sign. So whether by judgment or luck, I think that United not doing this deal now, I do think we will seriously go back in for him. I really do. I still like the player. DJ says, good afternoon. UDC had a weird feeling with the win at Palace. I'm a bit late. What's the topic? So look, I was going to do a preview of the United West Ham game, but I think I might shift that to tonight. I think I'm going to shift that conversation to tonight. But look, tonight we will go through the West Ham preview match. So I think because I'm not caught up with you guys for a little while. I think I'll shift the preview of the West Ham match to tonight, and we can talk about that tonight as we always do. So look, we're going through basically what Fabrizio has said. Lucky Singh says Joshua, Xerxes, Mason, Mount, Ahmad, let you do the press. Bruno Fernandes at the back. So I'll catch you up. Fabrizio Romano's basically said that Onana has gone, so Onana isn't coming back. He's also said a couple of bits on Mainoo as well. Mainoo doesn't want to be here anymore. Pretty much the end of Mainoo's career, and we can come on to that as well. Lucky, I've talked about Xerxes at the top of the show. I'm going to give you my opinion, Lucky, again on Xerxes, right? I just don't think he's the guy. I don't think he is. Like, I've seen plenty of outlets, plenty of people. I get sent clips all of the time, and people ask me my opinions on stuff, right? My opinion is no better than yours, right? The under 21s are playing today. Yes, they are. I've watched a couple of the games actually. Fantastic little team they've got. But again, I see them and I don't see a pathway to the first team. So Xerxes for me, Lucky. Like this is where I sort of am in him, right? After the match, I've seen people going, Xerxes, he's proved people wrong. Look at Xerxes. Wasn't there some Rashford nonsense? I'll get on to that as well. Purposefully held that back as well. I've seen people. We look like our planned attack. Using the ball at pace. Lucky, mate. Lucky, right? I read your comments out, right? Because I respect your opinion, right? I do, right? And if I come back on something, doesn't mean I'm disrespecting the opinion. It's just you spark off a conversation, right? Lucky, when have you seen that this season? What attacking plans are these, mate? Second half against Palace, we came out attacking a team who were knackered. If Crystal Palace hadn't have played on Thursday, I think it'd be a completely different story. First half, we were awful. Everton, we were awful. So look, I don't buy into it. Again, this flip-flop fan base of because we won a game. Look, you can only play. You can only play what is there, right? No. Palace basically were the victim of their success, right? And look, a win is a win is a win. It's 3 points, but we've got to go to West Ham. Everton not playing Champions League or European football, right? Crystal Palace game, and again these games that we win or draw. Crystal Palace, we weren't this team, and again I'm sick and tired of this second half that we played this amazing stuff. Xerxes is a great player. Xerxes was shit. Xerxes was awful. Xerxes' touch was like Teflon, non-stick, and even in the second half, I'm listening to people saying how good he was. No, he wasn't. Like, I don't get this Xerxes nonsense. As I said, I fully accept and I respect people watch football in a different way to me, right? And hopefully Xerxes will have a run against, because look, I like with Xerxes what I saw, but he's playing as a number 10. Xerxes is not a striker, but look, if Xerxes is going to come in and do a job, I admire that. I've got do not get confused when I talk about Xerxes in a sort of negative way, because it's not against him. It's more so about the people who are around there trying to basically say that Xerxes is the second coming now of Haaland, right? What I love about that lad, right, is he's come into the squad. He's basically not been played. He could have thrown his dummy out of the pram and said, I'm not playing. Like, you lot have treated me like crap. But what I like about him and what I will respect, he's come into this team and he's done his best. He's clearly been doing his homework, and Xerxes has come into this side. He's not played well, but I think he'll get better and better and better. So look, I'm actually quite. I'm pleased with him. I'm pleased with him on the fact that he's come into, like, he could have just said, look, I don't want to play, right? Kicking up a stink, being one of these players is just like, I'm not playing. He's kept his head down and he's come in and he's doing a job. He's doing a job for this team, and I admire that. The only thing that I want for now with these players is to come in and respect the fans, respect the badge, and whether or not I thought he played well, what I really liked about him is he's just come into the squad and he's done a job. And I can't ask for more than that. I can't ask for more than that. So look, I don't agree with this whole rhetoric that Xerxes had an amazing second half and he's proved people wrong. And those of you who said that Xerxes was crap, he gave it his best. Just hope Cunha is back on Thursday. Me too. That's why I didn't get excited though we won 2-1. And I agree with you. Agree with you completely. We're gonna need to play really well against West Ham. We need the points. Yes, we do, my friend. I just hope Cunha's back. So I will come on to Mainoo as well. But what I wanted to talk about next was Mainoo. I think he and Mainoo will go on loan to Napoli. I think Xerxes will stay. The reason why I think Xerxes will stay is, look, he's getting some playing time. He's clearly the backup striker. I think Xerxes will stay. I do. I think we'd be a fool to let him go because I think we need another striker. I do. So look, I think he'll get to the end of the season and then he'll go. So I think he's going to stay. I do. I think he'll stay. I'm perfectly happy with that situation. I like his attitude. I like some of the things he said after the game. I really like the lad. I just don't know if he can be the player that we need. Mainoo. Let's talk about Kobbie Mainoo. Mainoo's gone. I think that he's not used. He's not being used. Now, Amarin keeps saying that basically he's a starter. He trains well. He wished that he could play him. Load of bollocks. I think that's a load of nonsense designed to basically not devalue the player. That's what I think. Xerxes is surplus. Mainoo is surplus to requirements. And that's it. I think there's a conversation to be had whether or not I think that Xerxes is good enough. Do I think Mainoo is good enough? I don't know. We're not very good at bringing players through. We don't give them a platform. We gave him a platform, and sometimes managers just don't like players. You look at Alonso at Madrid, right? Players there don't seem to like him, even though he was unbeaten as a coach. Players don't seem to like him, and he doesn't like players. And Scott, this is one for Scott. So Valverde apparently doesn't like playing there. So Valverde could be one of those players that could leave, and we've been linked to him. Do I think and Scott's going to wet his pants now? But for me, Valverde, look, is pie in the sky. It's not going to happen, but that's just a good example. So mainly for me, I think we need to let him go. I don't think he's going to play. He's getting played 10 minutes at the sort of end of the game. He's not. He's Amarin just doesn't like him. I think Amarin maybe respects him as a player, as a young player. He just doesn't rate him. There's a again. I think that there's myths around players. could Mainoo eventually be one of those players that's going to end up being a fantastic player? I don't know. It's just so difficult to tell. DJ, yeah, we need more important players in Jan. That's a striker, midfielder is a must. I agree with you, Scott. But look, Amrin doesn't. I just don't think Amrin likes this player. So I think Mainoo, look, whether or not we like him, whether or not I think he stays, I would like to keep him. But I think ultimately Amrin doesn't want to keep him. I don't think we will. I think Amrin will get his way, and in some respects, I think we've got to back the club. I think we absolutely have to back, and we absolutely have to back him. The manager is the manager. You know, I'm tired of player power. I am. I'm tired of the player power. I'm tired of, you know, players dictating, this fan base, you know, telling the manager which players that we need to keep. Look, we probably do know more in terms of our players, but look, this manager has to have reign. To Radia says, "Hola, Azadilla. Hello, sir. I'm extremely well, and hope you are too. Encore les English. I speak English, but you know, vive la France. Look, vive la France, indeed, my friend. You know, I've got family that live in France, so you know, well done to the French. So, mainly, look, and we will talk about this again tonight because I think it's important to get into the main new topic. Ugarte selling in January. Now, lucky, I've gone over this, right? I don't know if you saw the show, but I went over that basically there's this thing out there. There's this spin out there, right? Whereby we're going to be selling these players, right? Ugarte, you know, Mason Mount, Luke Shaw. Manuel Ugarte's contract is until 2028. Who is going to JB is bilingual, mate. I can barely speak English. Manuel Ugarte's contract is until 2028. Who's going to buy him? You know, this is this thing, and I do wish, look, and this is not a dig, right? And we've all been spun around. I think this fan base gets spun around. I think creators give you half of the truth without giving you the whole truth. And we do on here give you the full truth. I will give you the stats. I'll give you, you know, try to give you a well-rounded view, right? Amrin was apparently going to get a second clear out of these players. I speak very good English. Amazing. I wish that I could speak another language. You know, I wish I could speak French, Spanish. Sadly, I can't. I'm bilingual. Yeah. You know, whenever, you know, I'm away in France or Spain, and the other half can speak Spanish. The live look. So we're basically talking about United. That's what we do. We're a Man United fan channel. We're ready to go for the Premier League midfielder. Not sure when someone or Jamie. Look, and what I'm going to do with this show is I'll shift the West Ham preview until tonight. I'll do another show on that, and we'll focus on this sort of stuff, right? So the summer signings, and let me go back to Ugarte for a second, right? There's this rhetoric that we're going to have a clear out. It's been put out there by the club that we're going to have a clear out. 10 players are going to go, right? This is going to be his second clear out that he's had. Amrin hasn't had the first clear out, right? We had the bomb squad. And of that bomb squad, 2 players got sold. The rest are still here. The rest are still under contract. He didn't have a clear out. He had 2 players sold. Eriksen left on a free. Lindelof left on a free. Not a clear out. Now, of this 10 that have been mentioned, subscribed. Thank you, my friend. That's very, very kind. And you know, you don't have to, but thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Of all these 10 players, right, it's just not going to happen. Focus on me getting a new wife. Mine does my head in. I'll only speak for other languages because I work for months, sometimes years in a country. It's a bit different to learning a lingo. It is true. Manu Ugarte, Luke Shaw. Lucky. Ugarte has got a contract till 2028. Luke Shaw has got a contract until 2027. You're not getting rid of these players. Who is going to buy Luke Shaw? And this was my point about the show that I did, right? 10 players who are going to go. 10 players are not going. 10 players are not going. It is impossible. There are 5 players that can go. Maguire can go on a free. Casemiro can go on a free. Apparently, Bruno Fernandes is going to be sold. I mean, then there's another 2 or 3 players that could possibly go. Rashford is still here. Now of those 10 players, Luke Shaw is going nowhere. Right? Who's going to buy him? Mason Mount is not going there. His contract's till 2028. Ugarte, 2028. Xerxes, 2028. Rasmus, 2027. These players are going absolutely zero unless somebody comes in to buy them. Now, let's go for the Rashford. So, Rashford's coming back. Rashford is coming back. So, this has been confirmed, I think, by Barcelona. Barcelona's intention is they're going to send him back. Not because Rashford is not doing reasonably well. It's because Barcelona have thrown their toys out of the Prem because they want to sign Rashford for £23 million. Barcelona want to renege on their agreement. That sounds like them. That definitely sounds like them. You know, they're not fair. They don't want to do a proper deal. So he comes back, you know, and hopefully if he goes to England, hopefully if he does really, really well, he'll come back. But I think he goes. So, you know, I think that Rashford, and again, and this goes to my point, Lucky, right? This club talks about selling players, and apparently we're going to be selling these players. We're going to sell 10 players. A load of bollocks. We're not selling 10 players. At the very most, we will sell 2 or 3. So Amarin, again, we're going to clear out probably 4 to 5 players again. So Rashford's coming back. At the moment, Rashford is going to return. How that works, I don't know. I think he'll go back out on loan. But again, the wages are going to be a massive issue. There's talk of buying coming in for him as well. So, look, I think Rashford is the secondary point to this, I think that we all need to realise as well. Next year, when Rashford comes back, it is not a World Cup year. Rashford's not going to be bothered. Luke Shaw is not going to be fussed. Luke Shaw is not going to be bothered. The minute Luke Shaw knows he's not in the World Cup squad, and there's something funny when it comes to that as well, that I just want to talk about that as well. Rashford is not going to care. It's not even determined whether Rashford is going to go to the World Cup or not. Rashford's coming back, right? If Rashford has a good World Cup, maybe somebody comes in to sign for him. But if not, it is not a World Cup year. Rashford will come back, and I can see him, if they can't sell him, maybe comes back as a bit part player. You know, it would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous if he came back. Look, I'm hoping they can secure another loan away, but I genuinely think that Rashford could come back. So look, just keep an eye on that. Now, the funniest thing before I go on. Lucky says it may be a few. You've subbed. Thank you, my friend. Sue, Big Force, Baguette, Eiffel Tower, Croissant. I was always a sub in my school team. Oh, I'll tell you something as well. Mitch says, United guy, don't ever say again that Bruno needs to leave. Don't ever say again that Bruno needs to leave. Mitch, Bruno needs to leave. I think Bruno Fernandes is a pile of shit. No, Bruno Fernandes needs to leave. Bruno Fernandes needs to leave this club. What, Mitch? Because apparently he had 2 assists, right? He laid a ball off to Mason Mount, and Mason Mount hit it. That's not an assist. Bruno can go and do one if he thinks that's an assist. He put a ball over the top for a Xerxes. Xerxes did all of the work, but Bruno Fernandes gets the 2 assists. Bruno Fernandes was dog again. Bruno Fernandes is a stat padder. Fernandes got 2 assists for 0. I want Bruno Fernandes gone. Bruno Fernandes is done. I cannot stand the petulance, and I'm going to be consistent. I hope Fernandes does well this season. Bruno Fernandes is done. Do not... You tell me the last time that Bruno Fernandes played well. He had a better game against Palace in the second half when Crystal Palace were dead on their feet and tired. He's not our best player. I disagree. There are other channels out there who lick his arse, who have their tongue and their fingers so far up Bruno Fernandes' arse, it literally is coming through his mouth. Bruno Fernandes has been shit for 18 months. I'm not buying it. I'm done with Fernandes. There are Fernandes fanatics. I'm done. I'm done with these players. I am not going to. I'm not going to change my mind on this. I'm done with these players. The new players are exempt right now, but I'm done with these low IQ, low mentality players. And this is exactly what I mean about this fan base. Flip-flop. They flip-flop because we won a game. What's going to happen if we lose to West Ham? Mitch says the United guy is done, confirmed. I'm not done. My channel grows and grows and grows, my friends. So I am nowhere near done. I've not even begun to start, mate. This channel is not even begun to start. I don't care, right? Listen, right? I am the sort of person who, very much like an Amarin, right? I have my views, and I'm very, very stuck on my views, right? I respect your opinions. That's why I read your opinions out in here. Doesn't mean when I come out and say something, I'm disrespecting your opinion. I will give you your opinions, right? This channel, I know, Mitch. I know you did, mate. I was kidding, right? All I'm saying is that these players, I am done. These players, look, just because they win a match, even if these players go on a winning streak of 10 games, I know, Mitch, I'm kidding, my friend. I'm kidding. But thank you for confirming, but I'm kidding, my friend. I want these players done. You know, I guarantee you this. This is what I would guarantee you next season. Right? Luke Shaw will fall off a cliff. Right? Luke Shaw will fall. The moment Luke Shaw knows he's not in that World Cup squad, say around April time, he will not play the rest of the season. He will be injured. He will be out. Next season, he will probably play for a new contract. He is talking about you. JB doesn't have to do this. This is his A side quest till it becomes a mate. Scott, exactly, mate. This is the side quest that could lead, you know, to that special thing, right? Look, it may never happen, right? But you know, I've given it a try. The channel's doing okay. it could be worse, right? It could absolutely be worse. Scott says this year in Boom has been our best player. DJ says we won't get anywhere near 100 million. I do agree. Scott says I'll take 60 million for Bruno. Like he says, DJ. So let me tell you this, because there are two things I'm going to say. Both are really funny, right? Number one, apparently people at United are very surprised, and I did write this down because it sort of made me laugh. It says that United staff are baffled that Luke Shaw, because of his admission from the England squad. So apparently, and this is coming from from Samuel Luckhurst, right? That sources at United are baffled about Luke Shaw's admission from the England squad. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, come on now. I mean, who I can't believe Luckhurst put pen to paper on that. Now, normally my eye would start to twitch. I just found that absolutely hilarious. My main quest for next year is to try to get to Amsterdam. Luke Shaw, they're baffled that Luke Shaw is not in the England team. I mean, some of these, I think some of these sycophants that live on the butts of these players like little leeches. How deluded is that? I wonder if that was put out by a Luke Shaw. You know, to suggest that Luke Shaw or anybody associated with this club thinks that Luke Shaw, bent nose cauliflower, that Luke Shaw should be part of the England team, is they're either drinking or smoking because they've got problems. Luke Shaw, he's playing. It's a medical, unseen in medical science ever. How Luke Shaw has come back after not playing for the best part of 3 to 4 years, to come in and play 13, 14 games is ridiculous. Luke Shaw, I mean, are we really meant to believe that somebody at our club, and I know our club's crap, and I know our Football Inside is crap, and I know we're a disaster of a club at times, but are you telling me that somebody at this club has really put it out there to this guy that they're baffled that Luke Shaw is not in this England side? I'm baffled that somebody would even put that out there. It is absolutely ridiculous that, and I guarantee you this has been put out by Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is probably begging. He's begging to be put into this England side. See, for me, this is the whole crux of why Luke Shaw has been doing what he's done this year. Is because he thinks he's getting back into this England squad. Scott says, I've got 92 days till I go to Gran Canaria, but I need the Amsterdam trip. I'm going away in 14 days. I'm going away in 2 weeks. Sorry, ear cauliflower expressing. No, it is the cauliflower ear. So Luke Shaw, I mean, the fact that Luke Shaw, or people are suggesting that Luke Shaw is going to get into this England squad, is embarrassing. It is absolutely. It just made me laugh. It actually made my day. That Luke Shaw thinks he should be in this. I'm off to Lapland with the kids, and they don't know. So I'm taking the kids to see Santa Claus. There's tons of snow. We've not told them yet, so it's going to be fantastic. And I'll probably will live stream from the North Pole as well, by the way. So I'll be doing a very, very festive couple of streams from there as well. Harry Maguire, the GOAT, needs to step up again. The other funny piece of news as well is that this should make you laugh. So tomorrow night I'm going to be. I will be back tomorrow night, by the way. I will be back with a. I'll be back tonight, so I'll do the West Ham United preview tonight. So I'm going to change the thumbnail and I'll shift that about. But I will be back tonight and I will do the West Ham for that. Tomorrow, and I will be back tomorrow. Do you think Arsenal will apple crumble? No. Lyon are a good side. Do I think Arsenal, the apple will? No. Arsenal are going to win the league. I've said that the whole way through. I'm not going to change my mind. I think Arsenal are going to win the league. So tomorrow, Lyon are a fantastic side. I've respected Lyon for many, many years. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so tomorrow night I'm playing five-a-side. I haven't played five-a-side in about 13 years. Scott said they're going to... and I listened to Scott. Scott's got quite... Lyon is a good club. Yeah, yes. I don't know if they're considered, like a top club now, but yeah, I've always respected them. They've always had some good players. Live stream the fight, mate. I'm not going to be blowing because I'm pretty in terms of like the running aspect. It's going to be fine, mate. I've not kicked the ball in about 13 years, mate. It's good. It's going to be like watching a combination of Ronnie Rosenthal, Titus Bramble, and just trying to think who else is crap. It's gonna be. It's UDC having a heart defibrillator ready at 5. So, mate, my cardio game is on point. Like I run, right? So I run a lot. I go to the gym. I'm reasonably fit, right? But it's not. I'm not really concerned about that. It is gonna be the football, mate. I'm gonna have the touch of a. I can't say the word because I'll get banned. But my touch is gonna be awful. It's gonna be disgusting. When you play five-a-side, do you play like Shaw? I wish I could play like Shaw. I will be play like the Silver. I'll be worse than. I'll be awful. I will let you know. Like I used to be good. I used to be pretty decent. I've not kicked the ball. I'm just. It's going to be awful. But I'll come back on and stream tomorrow, and I will tell you. But tonight I will do a stream tonight as well. So the only thing I wanted to say. So we've gone through the Shaw stuff. Yeah. So look, I'm going to go. Just a sort of quickest show tonight. Be a Butner type of player, mate. I will be but. I will be but less. I don't like United because of the Europa League season. Look, that's absolutely fine. Most people don't. You always slag short of ever. Well, look, Jenny. In my opinion, Luke Shaw is not very good. There are some things that I think he does right. In terms of, look, when Luke Shaw is tackling a player and he's basically stood one-on-one, I've got no problem. He's got no pace. He gets caught out of pace. The guy's been stealing a living for 2 years, and yet he still gets into the squad. The moment that we sign a credible centre-back, he's done. He's done. Thanks, UDC. Good luck in the five-side. St. John's. Don't even joke. The last time I played 7-a-side, I fractured my ankle. So you are very good. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah. The last time I played 5-a-side, I fractured my ankle. I like you too. Look, thank you so much. Look, I really appreciate that. That's really. And look. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me for giving me your time. It really means a lot. JB is Xerxes in disguise. I wish I was, mate. I wish I was Xerxes. I'm going to be terrible. I'm French. I don't understand your discussion. Neither do I, to be fair. Go watch Matthias Union, then no crap player. Yeah, true. Xerxes in disguise. So look, I will be back this evening. I will be back tonight. I'll be back with the West Ham preview. I'm going to change the thumbnail, and hopefully I'll be back around 10 o'clock tonight. But yeah, I will be back tonight with the West Ham versus United preview. It's going to be some good stuff. But look, guys, thank you for being here. Just a quick show to say hello. Basically, I wanted to stream to tell you about Luke Shaw because I thought it was hilarious, and basically to tell you that I'm going to play five-a-side tomorrow. So I will be back this evening. Thank you for watching. You guys are legends. I thank you so much for being here. I am JB, and of course I will be back this evening. So hopefully you can join me tonight, and I will see you in a bit. Take care.